You are listening to the Riverbend Youth Podcast. We hope this teaching deepens your relationship with Jesus and encourages you to share your faith with others. Please enjoy the message.
So, are any of y'all history fans? No? Okay. Even if you're not a history fan, I think this is going to be some fascinating stuff. So, in the year 536 AD, a volcanic eruption in Iceland spread ash across the northern hemisphere. Y'all know about that? This wasn't a normal natural disaster. The ash created a fog so thick and massive it altered global climate patterns for years. It caused years of famine. Summer temperatures dropped over 30 degrees. So China had summer snow, which is crazy. Crops failed because of the lower temperatures, so people ended up dying. It's kind of a bummer. Imagine a full 18 months of darkness. That's exactly what a lot of people experience. People couldn't even see their own shadows or their hands in front of their face in the middle of the day for over a year. If that wasn't bad enough, the effects of this darkness worsened the first bubonic plague outbreak, which killed up to 1/2 of the Byzantine Empire's population. The Byzantine historian Procopius wrote that the sun gave forth its light without brightness, like the moon, during the whole year. He also wrote that it seemed like the sun was constantly in eclipse, and during this time, men were free neither from war, nor pestilence, nor any other thing leading to death. Who knew light was so important? And okay, Sage, that's a cool history lesson, right? But what's the point? Why am I starting off with such a bummer of a story? But I want to ask you, have you ever been in that kind of darkness? And okay, none of y'all were alive thousands of years ago. I know that, or I hope that's true. But when you're surrounded by darkness, chaos ensues, right? Have you ever been at school and the power went out and there's like that one person that decides to scream like they're in the opera? And everyone's like, okay, what's going on? And people are confused. They're going to their teachers. They're going to the hallways. They're trying to leave. It's crazy. Maybe you've stumbled around in the middle of the night trying to find your light switch and you've stubbed your toe. I hear that black box in the back is really easy to trip on when the lights are off in this building. You can ask Cheney about that. So either way, it's easy to feel lost when you can't see your hand in front of your face, right? You might feel that exact chaos in your life right now. The world is full of war. There's political chaos. There's illness, financial struggles. There's a cost of living crisis happening. And on top of that, in your own personal life, you might have things going on that bring chaos. What the world is facing today, what many of you are experiencing personally, reminds me of this opening verse in Genesis. Genesis 1:2-5 says, "The earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the deep waters. The Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Then God said, 'Let there be light.' And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. He separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night." The phrase "without form and void" in the original Hebrew is tohu vavohu. It's difficult to translate in Hebrew. There's not an exact word for it, but the best definition is chaotic and empty. I bet there are some of you today who feel like your world is chaotic and empty. Isn't that right? Maybe there's chaos in your family. There's divorce or arguments. Maybe there's chaos in your neighborhood. Maybe there's chaos in your school with your grades, with your teachers, with your classmates. Maybe your schedule feels chaotic. Maybe you wake up, you eat breakfast, if you have time for that, go to school, go to class, go to practice, go to your extracurriculars, you go home, you do homework, you sleep, eat, repeat every day with no time for anything. If you're a junior or a senior in here right now, maybe your life after high school feels chaotic, uncertain. I could list things for days, but this verse in Genesis, it doesn't end with the chaos and the emptiness. God actually speaks into the darkness, chaos, and emptiness with 4 important words. Let there be light. When God saw the light, he called it good. Then he went through this process of separating light from darkness. The creation story is a Hebrew poem. That's why there's so much visual words in it. It's so full of good creative poetry, but it's not just a poem. It was written thousands of years ago, but it's the holy word of God, and it has the power to bring hope into your situation today. I want to point out the word light. This is translated from the Hebrew or, and it's made up of 3 ancient Hebrew letters, Aleph, Vav, and Resh. They have ancient roots that mean to bring order to chaos. So when God said, let there be light, God didn't just shine a light in the darkness when he was talking about this creation story. It's so much deeper than that. God brought order to chaos, and I think we take light for granted sometimes. In the world, in our lives, just a little bit of darkness can feel overwhelming. A little bit of darkness can feel overwhelming, and sometimes we might not know what to do with it. Maybe this is how you feel about school, or how you feel about your relationships, your family. There we go. And sometimes all it takes is one person saying something kind to you, one person going out of their way to give you a helping hand, one person giving you patience when you don't deserve it. That mic stand doesn't work, but it's okay. See how these glow sticks are so visible when the room is so dark? That's a kind word. That's God's light, lighting up the darkness, just a little bit. But the cool thing is, it's not just a little bit of light. God empowered each and every single person that calls themselves a follower of Christ with the same light. So go ahead and reach under your chairs and grab your glow sticks. It should be taped under your chair. And if all of us break our glow sticks, we can start to see so much more. The room begins to be a little bit clearer. We can start to see the chairs. We can start to see the stage a little better, so I hope I don't trip. Look at that. This is exactly what God has planned for us. The way God continues to separate light from the darkness is through each person here in this room. God uses all of us to bring order, peace, and light into the world around us. You have the power to extend patience when someone needs it. You have the power to lend a helping hand to anyone who needs it. See how much easier it is to see each person in this room with our glow sticks? God's light in you brings order to chaos. You can bring order to the people who are in need or hurting. This is what God is asking us to do, to light up the darkness, to carry a light with us. With all of the darkness and chaos in the world, I'm so sorry. With all of the darkness and chaos in the world, it's the followers of Jesus who have the opportunity to bring order to the chaos. This happens when you follow the example of Jesus with the way you live. He was the original light in the darkness. And Luke 11:36 says, then your whole life will be radiant as though a floodlight were filling you with light. Y'all, if you think the glow sticks are visible in the dark, these floodlights are visible in the dark. That's you. And when we model Jesus with our lives, we're modeling that light to the people around us. Now, I have a few important questions I want to challenge you to ask yourself. These will help you to apply this idea to your life. First, who is in your immediate sphere of influence that seems as if their life is in chaos? Do you have a friend, a family member, maybe a classmate, someone you don't know very well whose life is in chaos. Maybe they're going through a really hard time with their family and divorce is really tricky, or maybe their mental health is struggling. Who is it? How can you help lighten the burden or relieve the stress of someone you know or care about? And I want to make this clear, not every burden is your responsibility. Please don't feel pressure to do something about a situation that's dangerous. If you or someone you know is in a dangerous or serious situation, the best thing you can do for them is tell a trusted adult right away. But if you can do something, why not? You have the light with you. You can bring patience, you can bring peace, you can bring kindness, selflessness. Finally, probably the most difficult question to ask yourself: how do you need to bring order into your own chaos? We talked earlier about a chaotic schedule. I'm sure a lot of you are constantly going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, and then sleeping and just repeating in the morning. Do you need to find time to rest? Maybe you have habits that are unhealthy that you need to reconsider. Maybe you need to start implementing healthy habits. How often do you pray? Read your Bible? What type of friends do you hang out with? Are they causing chaos in your life? I'll say it again, God's light in you brings order to chaos. This goes for the people around you. You have a light to shine in their life, but it's also true for your own life. God's light in you can help you bring order to your own life. When we have a peace in our own lives, we're in a better position to bring peace to others. I was on a plane the other day, as y'all saw in the Sunday Scoop, and every single time the flight attendants would come down the aisle, they would talk about putting on your own oxygen mask before you help someone else. They would always stop at me, at my chair, and see me holding my son, who's 4 months old, and they would say, make sure you put your own oxygen mask on before you put on his, if you need to. That's because I wouldn't be able to put on an oxygen mask on someone else if I can't breathe. How are you going to bring peace to someone else if your life is lacking peace? How are you going to help someone else if you don't have the time to help them? Let's focus on what we need to work on. Then we can help those around us. Like we saw when the room was dark, our light makes a difference. Each glow stick was so visible in the dark. You can make a difference. God's light in us makes a difference. It brings peace in the storm. And this is what God does. This is what God has been doing from the very beginning, y'all. This is Genesis that we just read earlier. Light in the darkness, chaos becomes order. We get to be a part of it. Isn't that exciting? So as you take your glow sticks out this morning, remember that you can make a difference in someone else's life because God's light is in you.
Thank you for listening to the Riverbend Youth Podcast. To learn about our mission, gatherings, and more, please follow us on Instagram at rbyouth or check out our website at riverbend.com/students. If you were encouraged by this message, please subscribe, rate us, and consider sharing our channel with a friend. Available anywhere you get podcasts.